Hello, you're listening to ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast. My name is Andrew, and today I'm joined by the founding member of Magnolia Country Club, Sean.
Okay. That's good.
Prestigious.
You're going to start it. You're going to start a club. It could be like the day drinking club, right? But you guys always meet at Magnolia, and you call yourselves a country club.
But it's for the first bit. It's just me. It's just me out there.
One man wrecking crew.
Hanging out.
Because it's a solo trip.
It's the most exclusive country club there's ever been.
You can't possibly buy your way onto it.
You can be bought.
Or maybe you can. I think you can be bought.
We'll figure it out.
And that other voice is the rope drop wizard, JJ.
Hey, I like that. That's actually nice. That's a nice
wizard.
title. Maybe my best one. He's on a roll.
Rope drop wizard.
I'm improving on these.
He's on a roll, guys.
In today's episode, we continue our resort spotlight series with a look at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. Our last resort spotlight, which was back in July, took us to Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, a colorful, sprawling moderate with a laid-back island theme. This time, we're stepping it up to a deluxe and looking at one of the most thoughtfully designed resort on property, Disney's Wilderness Lodge. Wilderness Lodge stands as a love letter to the great American national parks. Inspired by the Grand Lodges of Yellowstone and Yosemite, it brought the Pacific Northwest to the edge of Bay Lake, complete with roaring fires, towering totem poles, and a bubbling geyser. And over time, that original version expanded with Boulder Ridge Villas and later Copper Creek Villas and Cabins, adding new layers of story, DVC history, and even waterfront luxury cabins to the property. Today, we're diving into how this resort was conceived, how it evolved, and how Boulder Ridge and Copper Creek reshaped Wilderness Lodge while still protecting what makes it special. So let's head into the woods on Wilderness Lodge. Okay, instead of weeds,
Into the wilderness was
No, wait,
right
Into
there.
the Woods is also a Broadway show.
yeah.
Is it Into the Woods? Is it Into
The
the
movie
Woods?
version has James Corden in it.
I thought it was-
it's like it's a Sondheim, so it's very like plucky kind of music. It's like Jack and the Beanstalk.
What was the movie? What was the movie where the guy goes like he goes out on his own
It's
and
not.
he's like in a van or something?
Oh, yes,
Is it Into the Wild?
Into the Woods is a musical about like fairy tales that are all interconnected. Interesting show. Second half, very depressing. First half, fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steven Sondheim.
Okay now, boys, if you just stop carrying on like, we just might dedicate this next song to y'all.
So this time we're starting with our first deluxe resort, Disney's Wilderness Lodge, and JJ is going to take us through the history, the development of the property and the resort. So JJ, why don't you take it away?
Sure. This is such a crazy, elaborate resort to dig into. And the story of this, it really starts in like 1980. The CEO of Disney is still Card Walker at the time, believe it or not. And he had a conversation with Dick Nunis, Disney legend Dick Nunis, that's basically like, hey, with this Epcot opening, we need more hotels. And Dick Nunis identified an area that's in between the Contemporary and Fort Wilderness on Bay Lake. And he pitched the idea for a wilderness-themed place called Cypress Point Lodge. And it was going to be a moderate resort with 550 rooms and about 20 to 50 lakeshore cabins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, everyone's kind of recognizing that we need to do this, but it doesn't get announced. And then Ron Miller takes over, and then Eisner takes over. And in 84, when Eisner takes over, one of the first things he does is announces that he's going to build 3 new resorts in the area. and it's all going to be in the Magic Kingdom area. The Grand Floridian, a resort called the Mediterranean, which maybe is a future episode, something that never happened. And that was actually supposed to be between TTC and the Contemporary, which makes sense. There's a pretty big gap between the Contemporary and TTC. So I could see why they wanted that. And then the last one being Cypress Point Lodge. Kept the name too. They called it Cypress Point Lodge. And eventually Cypress Point Lodge becomes much more than what Dick Nudis pitched it to be. And it becomes what we now know as the Wilderness Lodge. This change happened for a lot of reasons, but mostly it was Eisner that demanded a much more grand and themed resort. It's actually part of a whole resort region that he wanted to be part of because it was the Disney decade. He was obsessed with design, so he brought in an outside architect, Peter Dominic Jr., just to up the whole ante of it. This is, he's the guy, Peter Dominic Jr., he's the guy that takes it and creates that iconic design that's inspired by the Old Faithful Inn and the majestic Yosemite Hotel at Yellowstone and Yosemite, respectively. So Eisner is obsessed with theme and design, and he demanded that this architecture be, quote, part of the show at Walt Disney World. So architecture is something that he thinks sets the tone and the theme, which is why a moderate resort of Cypress Point just wasn't going to cut it for him. He needed it to be bigger and better. And the Wilderness Lodge is actually supposed to be part of a network of wilderness-themed resort area. So if you think about the boardwalk and how there's all those hotels all around the boardwalk area, Wilderness Lodge was supposed to be that. And there's a resort that's supposed to go in between Fort Wilderness and the Wilderness Lodge called Wilderness Junction. So this is why they all have the wilderness names. They were all supposed to be connected and be a giant resort area that was connected in a very Walt-approved way, an Old West train.
Oh, interesting. So this is now where the new resort is being built. Is that what you're talking about?
Isn't the new resort kind of being built right on top of where we used
River
to be
Country,
River
USA
Country?
was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is in between those two areas, this Wilderness Junction. And there's definitely a Disney Dish episode about this from last year that honorary professor Jim Hill explains much better than I ever could. But basically Wilderness Junction is supposed to have 600 rooms, and they're going to import the Buffalo Bill Wild West show from Disneyland Paris, and that's supposed to be the center hub of it all. That's going to have all the dining and shops, just like how the boardwalk is the center of it all, where that's where all the extra restaurants and the shops and the abracadabra and jelly rolls, all that extra stuff, that originally was supposed to be happening on Bay Lake and not Crescent Lake.
Oh, wow.
But unfortunately, this whole idea gets completely scrapped because Disneyland Paris is such a financial burden on the company that this gets lost. But this would have been amazing. Could you imagine this Old West bar crawl where you're in the Wilderness Lodge?
That'd be so cool.
Then you go to Wilderness Junction, you take in the Wild West show and hop on a train. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So thanks a lot, Parisians, for not embracing Disneyland Paris until it's been there for 30 years.
That's funny.
So back to Wilderness Lodge. Most of this is happening in the late 80s and early 90s. 89 to 91, that's the design phase where we're talking about getting Peter Dominic in and fleshing out this idea. From 92 to 94 is when this, is being built. They break ground in 92. Then 94 is when it finally opens. And it's as impressive as it is on the outside when you go, wow, this looks like a beautiful, gigantic lodge. When you walk in, it's even more impressive. I think this is maybe one of the best indoor spaces in all of Walt Disney World is the lobby of the Wilderness Lodge. It's incredible, and it's a real showstopper. And I think it's so special because it's not just like one piece that's impressive. It's like everywhere you look, there's something impressive. By my count, there are 6 things that you could qualify as like, that's the coolest part of this place. So obviously, I think the most obvious one, the one that you notice right away, is the fireplace. It's an 82-foot tall stone fireplace. And it's actually the only element that's like fully fabricated by artists. Most of the other stuff is, they're using real reclaimed wood, and they're being very, they're trying to really recreate something that feels old, like it belonged there, and that this is, an old national park lodge that you would find in the Northwest.
Yeah.
So this fireplace, what's interesting about it is that it is, it replicates the layers of the Grand Canyon. And so like all of like the variations and stuff, it's just like the walls of the Grand Canyon. And obviously the deeper it goes, the farther back in time you're going. So there's like little fossils and stuff imprinted, and it's all accurate to how the Grand Canyon, how the fossils that you see on the walls of the Grand Canyon would be also depicted.
That's cool.
Yes. Another thing that I could qualify as a main feature is there are these really 6-story high like columns of these bundled logs, and it's like old reclaimed wood from Montana, and it's an homage to these railroad piers on the Columbia River in the Pacific Northwest. And there's carvings in there that depict different species as the elevation changes. It's very interesting. And all of these poles came from like dead lodge pole pine from Montana. So they didn't cut down any live trees for it. It's all old lumber, which obviously means expensive. This is a labor of love. This is something that they spent a lot of time on.
Wait a minute. I love that idea.
So the thing that I gravitate towards there too is these there are 50-foot tall totem poles, 2 of them. One is the raven totem pole, and the other one is the eagle totem pole. This is homage to Native Americans in the Northwest, and in that region, most of them can trace their lineage all the way back to being in one of 2 clans, the Raven clan or the Eagle clan. They also brought in a very well-respected, highly regarded carver for indigenous style work. That guy's name is Dwayne Pascoe, and he's the guy that did the carvings on those totem poles. Again, they're really trying to make this feel like it belongs, like it's original, and it's a true theme.
Yeah.
There are 4 giant teepee chandeliers as well. Each one weighs about 600 pounds. The shades are made from actual rawhide, and it's hand painted. It's got real Native American symbols painted on them, and there are these silhouettes on the outside that are bronze of like Native Americans and cowboys on horsebacks and buffalo, and it's really intricate and really cool. It's one of those things though that to me, the first couple times you're in the lobby, you kind of don't notice them. You go, oh, that's nice, but you don't like really stop and look at them because there's so much going on in this lobby. Mm-hmm. So even the floor is an elaborate themed. There's an interpretation of a Hopi storm pattern weaving in the floor with like different species of wood, and it's the way that it's all weaved in there is depicting something and reinterpreted into the wood floor. So like even the floor has a theme and is part of it all. It's not just like,
yeah.
Here's here's a slab of marble that we got on sale.
Yeah. Disney doesn't do stuff like this anymore.
They really, really don't.
Well, I was just thinking about that, right? And how we're going to have to talk about that. But the new island tower at the Polynesian really, I feel like, tries to do it. It's like Disney executives told Imagineering, like, yes, we know you want to do some of that stuff, but you have to make it like a Four Seasons hotel, right? So
it's like little sprinkles of it, and they made it pushed back. They go, if this looks like a JW Marriott, that's really the goal. But if there's some sprinkle of this cool stuff, I guess it's okay, but I don't want it to be the whole thing.
Right. The chandelier of moss is supposed to be something like, I haven't looked at all this up, but like the different pillars are all of different seasons, and there's supposed to be some type of story of Polynesian culture in there.
Why do you think that is? Because Disney obviously goes to all lengths to keep their park additions and their park expansions immersive and detailed, and to get your attention. With all the new hotels, why do you think they stopped doing it with the resorts?
Well, I think that people expect a certain level of class when they're paying the prices they are, and like when you think back at some of the hotels in the 90s, like not people who go to Disney all the time and love Disney, but other people might think to themselves like, oh, this is a little Mickey Mouse, right? Like this is a little cheap, or it's not really luxury, right? Like what the price is demanding. And then also a little bit too of kind of what you usually say, Sean, is that you don't necessarily want to go back to your resort and be screamed at Disney.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just think of IP and that's it. You know what I mean? Like they just want their IP everywhere. And this, Native Americans is not their IP, so they don't want to do that anymore.
I also think that maybe there's a level of, it's like the Rotten Tomatoes effect, if you will, where like everything is judged on a thumbs up or thumbs down, and they want a high percentage of people giving a thumbs up to something. So they're going to just play it safe and do something that they know is good. Like a shareholder doesn't care about the Wilderness Lodge being so intricate. They just want someone to say, oh, that looks nice.
It's right. Yeah. Like, the luxury and the comfort of the hotel is more important than what the floors look like.
Right. But look at movies on Rotten Tomatoes. Like look at the ones that are in the 90s. There is an interesting mix of truly excellent movies and movies that are just like, oh, this is a movie that everyone just thinks is pretty good. It's not necessarily like a great movie. It's just so down the middle, like it's just likable enough that everyone who watches it is saying, thumbs up, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
What's so funny? That I just heard a term, a two-screen script.
Okay. I was going to say something else.
A two-screen script is a movie script that is going to be good even if someone's looking at their phone while they're watching the movie. And so Begonia. The script is it's more of like, instead of showing you what's going on, they're telling you more what's going on because they know that your attention is divided between another script.
And they reiterate the script a bunch of times. They'll use the script to tell every plot point. Yeah.
That's kind of funny. We can throw this out of the episode, but there's a new movie on Netflix that I watched that I love. It's called The Rip. It has it's Affleck and Damon, and they play narcotics officers, and like it's the perfect like 2.5 star like action like drama movie. But like I was listening to an interview with Matt Damon, and he was talking about how Netflix thinks they like reinvented making the movie, where like they kept forcing like you have to keep reinforcing the plot. You have to every 10 minutes you have to keep hinting at why you're doing this. You have
Right.
to keep, whether it's subtly or directly, you have to keep reinforcing this is why we are here and this is why we went here, so that the audience can look up from their phone or come back from the bathroom and be like, oh, right, okay, I'm in. So it's kind of funny that because it's like what is wrong?
terrible.
Like, we're right.
Yeah.
We're so cooked. Media literacy is in the toilet.
Media literacy.
In the toilet.
Any literacy is crazy. How little people care about this stuff.
Well, that's progress for you.
So the last really interesting and important thing in this lobby is a literal hot spring. And you can see it trickle outside and become something called Silver Creek. And Silver Creek does eventually become called Copper Creek. I don't exactly know why they did that change. It seems silly to me. But when they made the Copper Creek villas, they changed everything that was Silver Creek over to Copper Creek. So Silver Creek connects the lobby to the outside world. And you can kind of follow this creek out to the resort all the way to the water. So much so that this creek trickles. It looks like it trickles into the pool. And then past the pool, it continues to trickle on to Fire Rock Geyser, which is an actual geyser that they made at Wilderness Lodge. Again, because they had to go super extra. There is a geyser at this place too. And this geyser goes off every hour on the hour, except for the hours between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. when Uncle Walt wants you to go to bed.
It's very considerate of that geyser.
The geyser,
That
right?
geyser,
It's just this is real. This is nature. So it's a very considerate piece of nature. Some call it the ninth wonder of the world. Is the fact that the geyser is respectful of nighttime hours.
The geyser has operating hours.
Even geysers sleep. Like our friend John Hammond might say, they've spared no expense. So when all's said and done, in 1994, when it opens, it's got all the stuff you'd expect a deluxe resort to have. It's got 550 rooms, the feature pool, the Silver Creek pool. There's a playground, a beach, boat transportation to the Magic Kingdom, 2 sit-down restaurants, because they knew that in 2026 that they would need some representation during our Mouse Madness bracket. So they put 2 in there. There's fine dining at Artist Point, which eventually does become character dining later on. And family-style dining at Whispering Canyon Cafe. Mm-hmm. On top of that, there's quick service at the Roaring Fork. And, of course, the excellent bar where I'm going to be watching the big game with Professor Leisure, the Territory Lounge.
Yeah, that's good.
Those are all opening day attractions.
Those are all the opening.
Wilderness Lodge?
Yeah, that's all opening day. There are some things that come later, which I'm sure you might know a little bit more about.
We might get to those.
We might get there. But yeah, so that's what they have on opening day. Just a really incredible place.
Yeah, and I think the most one at the time, I think the most important thing about Wilderness Lodge was that it really began to kind of diversify Disney's hotel offerings. I mean, of course, at the time it was the newest, but it was a totally different imagination of a hotel environment. You know, the Magic Kingdom monorail resorts, being what they were, kind of had a more of a hotel feel to them than I think Wilderness Lodge gives you a different vibe when you're there. And it's funny that I remember way back when we did the episode where we talked about the sitcoms that go to Disney World. We did the episode where the Family Matters goes, and they stay at the Wilderness Lodge. And I remember saying in like a non-derogatory way that the Wilderness Lodge looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Now as it does in the past, and like that's a good thing. That's how like well they've really kept up that resort, and they've like maintained so many other hotels. And like I feel like maybe now, and not so much in the past, but now I feel like Disney gets antsy with wanting to revamp and refurbish and make things a little newer. They haven't really. I mean, we'll get to the expansions with Wilderness Lodge, but the main building has really kept itself in really great shape over its 25 years that it's been open.
Yeah. I think it's because it's just such a timeless theme that it locked itself into this, like, I'm a national park landmark style hotel that, you know, it becomes timeless because you can establish a place and time and an aesthetic, right? It's the opposite of the contemporaries problem, which is, well, you're calling something contemporary, and
right, exactly.
As soon as you've built it, it's no longer contemporary.
Right, the contemporary pigeonholed itself immediately into this weird.
Well, you're going to redesign it every year,
painted itself into a corner. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and I guess kind of in a funny way, an homage to the national parks. You know, it almost feels like preserved land. It's not being updated every 5 years. Sure, they're gonna coat a paint and they're gonna make it look prettier, but they're not giving it a facelift. They're not overhauling it to be something that it wasn't. I mean, the Wilderness Lodge stays exactly how it is opening day for 6 years. And then in November of 2000, they add DVC Villas. And this is officially the fifth now, ever since Disney Vacation Club kind of kicked off. This is officially the fifth property, Disney Vacation Club property, or rather Disney Vacation Club offering in the program. And it's originally called the Villas at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, and it offers your 1 and 2 bedroom studios, the rooms that we kind of know it today. But I think a fun part of this is the villas at Wilderness Lodge kind of serve as a bit of a historical prequel to the Wilderness Lodge, because they're a little backdated. They're themed after 19th century railroad worker hotels. So the DVC villas sort of give you an older time period of history to kind of experience, and it's themed a little differently. But of course, the overall wilderness and Wild West and Old West is the main theme. But this gives you a little bit of a different feel than the main hotel itself.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the Boulder Ridge. You're probably going to go into the lobby and everything in there, but I like. They added this and they gave it as good of a backstory as anything else that they've done with DVC. Actually, better. I think this has like the most backstory, but you kind of needed it because the lodge had such a deep backstory. But anyway, we'll get into that later.
Currently, it doesn't become Boulder Ridge until 2016, but the lobby is in keeping with the lobby of the Wilderness Lodge. The lobby of the villas and what would be Boulder Ridge is still your grand fireplaces, vaulted ceilings, the railroad displays, the model trains. It's everything, like JJ said, that Walt loved about America: outdoors, the railroads, the wilderness. It's just a tribute really to that interest of his. And I personally have never been in the lobby myself, but seeing pictures and kind of looking at some walkthroughs today, it's somewhere I would definitely love to go. And if there's future corporate retreats, maybe there's different locations we can go on year after year. Who knows where the horizon will bring us.
Now you're talking. That's the best idea you've had all day.
In that lobby, in that Boulder Ridge lobby, like, I think the coolest part is that there's like actual Disney history all within that too. It's like there's model trains and there's all sorts of stuff, but there's actually literally a train car of Walt's in the lobby. And it's Walt's train, the train that started it all, some might say. His model train in his backyard that his wife Lillian was like, what are you doing with these trains? And then he was like, I'm gonna find a place where I can really play with my trains, and then made Disneyland. What is that? The Carolwood Pacific? What is that called?
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
The Carolwood Pacific.
These aren't the rideable trains, though, that he had in his backyard. Are they?
That's a car from the Carolwood.
Is one of those is there?
One of them.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So that's one of the back cars of the Carolwood Pacific.
Oh wow! And like he set up a track.
Yes,
in his
and you'd
backyard,
see,
and
like,
he would. Yeah.
It's not the front. It's not. But if you see, there's a video of him like taking some kids on a ride. It's one of those. It's just
wow,
big enough for a little kid to sit on.
That's great. That's awesome.
It's like
probably
like a foot, maybe even less than a foot wide, and like 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
Oh, hiya, folks. Want to take a ride on my train?
And then we're bringing up to 2017, the grand opening of the second expansion at Wilderness Lodge, the Copper Creek Villas, which is the second major, like I said, the second major DVC expansion here, and it brings newer, more modern resort rooms, waterside cabins, and most popular and most important to this podcast, it brings us.
Do you want to say it all together?
Geyser Point.
Yes, if you've listened to any episode of this podcast, you certainly know Geyser Point. But we recommend it actually.
Yes, can we please recommend Geyser Point? Can I suggest Geyser Point? That was it. Can I suggest Geyser Point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then throughout the 2020s, there was really nothing major with the resort except for. Of course, some minor refurbishments, some minor upkeep and refreshing things. But the resort has generally, aside from opening up specific brand new expansions, everything stays very much the same in terms of the overall look, the theme, the vibe. They do a real great job of preserving what they intended that resort to be. And the next time I'm on property on a trip, I would like to get there myself and spend some time over there.
Yeah, I think we're in our Wilderness Lodge era as geeks.
Yeah. Definitely agree. Well, so that's the backstory of how it got created, how it developed. But of course, this was a resort that was made during the Eisner era, and so you can't just let it go with that. You have to have some type of overly detailed fake backstory to go along with it.
An imagineered story that goes along with this, right?
Yes, an imagineered story. Yep. So our imagineered story first begins with Colonel Ezekiel Moreland. And Colonel Moreland is a veteran of the War of 1812. So we're all the way back in the 1800s. Yeah, probably the most forgettable war right there.
Well, we got the Star-Spangled Banner from it.
We did. That's true.
Francis Scott Key is rolling hearing you describe.
Most forgetful. How dare you? Is that a good Francis Scott Key impression?
One of my favorite questions to ask before we start talking about the War of 1812 in class is, what year do you think the War of 1812 took place? And I swear it gets they struggle.
Who's buried in Grant's tomb?
Yeah, exactly. So Ezekiel Moreland is a distinguished field commander from the War of 1812. He's widowed, and he wants to set out and survey the Great Northwest in 1822. So he hears about Lewis and Clark, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds awesome out there. Let's go do this." Right? He hates retirement. He needs to keep on moving. So he sets off with 50 men and quickly realizes that they are in way above their head, or at least his men do. After facing some disastrous storms and floods and a bison stampede, most of his men give up and leave. But Moreland wants to keep on going. So he writes his daughter, Jenny, back at home, quote, I take to the wilderness alone. The good earth will provide me with everything I need to survive. I have my gun, I have my courage, and I have my determination. What need I of anything else, especially a cowardly scoundrels who turn Ashen to the face of the small adversity?
Imagineers wrote this?
Yeah, so he's kind of pissed at his buddies for leaving him alone, but hey, he's determined to keep on going. No one hears from him for the next 2 years, not even Jenny. He doesn't write home, but he shows back up in St. Louis, which is where he lives, with a great bounty of beaver pelts and furs, and he becomes extremely wealthy from this. And he's talking to his daughter, Jenny, and he says, hey, listen, I found this beautiful place that I would like to settle down in, right? He had 2 years of adventures out in the West. He wants to settle down. He wants her to come out to help him build something, build a lodge and curate that lodge with art.
He was gone for 2
Jenny
years.
is a curator. He was gone for 2 years. No one heard of him. No one heard where he went.
Not a good guy.
How many fake families does he have? Is that Imagineered too? Hold on.
Right. What? Imagineers are.
He's widowed.
He's leaving his daughter. He's leaving his daughter for 2 years.
He's widowed, leaves his daughter with no parents.
What? Someone read this and went to the Imagineer and went, "Are you okay?" His motherless daughter.
And I don't think she has a husband because she's going to go with him out west. They're going to go to the area that he found called the Silver Springs Creek. Is it Silver Springs Creek? Silver Creek Springs. Sorry, that's what he named it. He named it Silver Creek Springs. And Jenny is going to help him build a small lodge out there and curate it with art. So it's funny, you can actually see Moreland's original solo dwelling cabin, like his cabin.
Oh.
It's the boat and bike rental building. I don't know if it's still used for boat and bike rentals, but
It's there.
yeah, it's there. It's still there. That's supposed to be his cabin that he first built when he was out there alone. Jenny spends the rest of her life out there. Even after Moreland's passing, she stays out there, establishes a preservation area in her father's honor, and the lodge expanded to welcome scientists and nature lovers of all. So that's kind of the story with the main building. It goes through different iterations and gets bigger and bigger. Like, for instance, there's this story about an artist called Frederick Alonso Gustav. He comes out from Austria. He's an artist from Austria, and he is painting on a hilltop. And while he's painting, there's this gigantic force in the earth. It's kind of funny. There's a lot of stories where there's like earthquakes, and it's like, is this really the best place for you guys to be? A couple of earthquakes happen here, but anyway, he almost falls over, but he's able to save his painting, and it's just like a beautiful spot to draw the lake and the spring there. So they actually they call that Artist Point, and that's what becomes the dining restaurant, Artist Point. Yeah.
Little tie-in. Love that.
Yeah, a little tie-in. The pool has a story too. Georgie McGregor is a prospector who comes to the lodge, and he convinces Jenny to hire him as a cook. He doesn't want her to know that he's a prospector looking for gold and silver. And while no one else really believed that there was any silver in the creek, but because it's called Silver Creek Springs, this guy, Georgie, thinks that there's going to be silver in there and he's going to be able to find it. So he can cook a little bit, but he's terrible at catching fish. And he doesn't really spend any time catching fish or really cooking at all. He's just using his cooking pans, to look for silver in the creek. Jenny actually catches him one day shooting his pistol at trout. trying to catch some trout that way. And then she realizes, oh, maybe this wasn't the best hire I've ever made. And she tries to convince him that there's no silver in the creek. We just call it that because of how it shimmers in the light. And he's like, he doesn't buy it. He's like, no, there's got to be. And he's about to be fired. They go out and get a new cook. And so as like a last ditch effort, he buys all this dynamite and he's going to try to, blow up the creek to try to get the silver. It ends up going off by accident before he was planning on it. And it creates this big hole in the ground, which fills up from the creek, and that becomes the swimming pool. He gets launched into the trees, and they have to fetch him down. Very, very descriptive stories here. There's also a story with the geyser. So JJ was telling us about the geyser that goes off every hour, except for the times that you want to be sleeping, because it's a very considerate geyser.
We love that.
The resort's geyser has a legendary... It has a legendary origin story. It was told to Colonel Moreland by a Native American elder named Running Elk. And as the legend goes, during a really brutal winter, a Native American hunting party became trapped in the valley by heavy snow. And to survive, they had to burn a fire continuously for 5 days and 5 nights. And as this is something that the Native Americans would never have wanted to do, because they see it as a waste of resources, a waste of the wood. Well, the ground also thought that too. Because of the wasteful use of this continuous fire, it angered the earth, causing the ground to tremble and crack. And on the 6th day of this fire being lit, the earth opened up and a massive pillar of hot, steaming water erupted, launching the nearby teepees into the air like skyrockets. The hunters fled, warning others to avoid the site where they had angered the earth. But that's how the fire rock geyser was created, and that's how
I like
it got
the story.
It's funny that we make comments about like in jest about, I can't believe Imagineers came up with this. But these, you tell stories of how things came to be back in those times. It's probably very accurate.
And most of history, like even like Greek mythology, right? Like it's
exactly obviously it sounds crazy, but like it's embellished stories that are mostly for probably either entertainment's sake or maybe warning people to not repeat certain things that maybe have happened there before. But it's probably a lot more accurate to the time than we think. Yeah.
Now, JJ, you talked about the totem poles, correct?
Yes, I did mention the totem poles.
Did you mention? I'm forgetting here. Did you mention the stories on them?
I did not. No, I cut for time.
Okay. Well,
good news. You're about to hear.
You could cut this for time too. I thought this was interesting because I didn't know that they were telling a story, that these totem poles told a story. And so you read it from bottom up, and the story of the Raven pole tells a story of the whale chief's daughter, Dolphin, and an archery contest to win her hand in marriage. And the contest is won by Tiny Wren, who was protected by Hootis, the bear chief, as a couple fled to a small island. At the very top, the Raven is shown stealing a glowing orb from the sky's chief house to create the sun, moon, and stars.
Wow.
Yes. And then the eagle pole begins with the bear chief at the bottom. So Frog wants the bear chief to hold a ceremonial feast for his nephew, Bear Cub, and provide him with a magnificent gift. At the summit, the Raven is depicted releasing the first humans into the world. So that's interesting. A human origin story there at Wilderness Lodge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's the lodge in itself. The lodge is successful under Jenny, and it grows to be bigger and bigger. In the 1860s, with the development of the Transcontinental Railroad, the workers on the Transcontinental Railroad in the area had to have somewhere to stay. So they built Boulder Ridge. and that's Boulder Ridge is supposed to be the home of the railroad workers for the Transcontinental Railroad. It's based off of railroad hotels, as Sean was telling us before, which were a real thing.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right.
Copper Creek comes along, and it's kind of funny because they made Copper Creek's story kind of what it actually is. So in the story, the fake story land here, some of the hotel has kind of, fallen to the wayside, and there are all these cabins by the lake that were used by prospectors and people working on the railroad, and have just kind of like fallen into shambles, right? So they want to redevelop these shacks, these cabins, and turn them, kind of nice, reclaim this land, this area. So they take portions of the hotel that have kind of fallen by the wayside, make that into Copper Creek, and then also the cabins by the woods that are not being used anymore. They kind of upscale them, and so that's seen in the theme and the decor is that they've been upscaled, which is kind of like
that's just exactly
that's really what
That's
happened.
just what they did, right?
That's just what they did.
They just went, we need more luxurious accommodations for our more luxurious guests.
Yes.
Except they went from silver to copper.
Yeah, and isn't that a little bit of a downgrade? Wouldn't you put silver on top of copper?
Yeah, I was going to comment. I was like, oh, well, you want to get the silver out of the creek before it becomes Copper Creek.
I would like to know actually where the name came from.
And why they changed it. Because it was Silver Creek, and all of a sudden, nope, actually, it's Copper Creek.
Yeah.
Maybe they wanted to de-incentivize people from panning in their rivers. They wanted to just make it sound less valuable.
Well, it's funny now is copper's pretty valuable. That's
I was gonna say, actually, when you think of like copper piping and stuff like that, it actually is pretty valuable.
I wonder if Silver Creek sounds too Western, and so Copper Creek might not sound as Western. Maybe they wanted to get away from like Wild West type of thoughts there. I don't know.
Back then, the Wild West was just the West.
Maybe they found copper in the creek and they decided
they're living in the moment.
Yeah,
that it shouldn't be called Silver Creek because there's actually copper in it.
Right.
We're misrepresenting our river.
Yeah.
We're misrepresenting our river. So yeah, that's the background story. And what's great is that everyone would be told this background story, because when you checked into Wilderness Lodge Resort, you got something called the Silver Creek Star, and that was a newspaper that would tell you all these stories. But then it would also
that's cool.
Yeah, it would also be your park, your map, your resort map. Of where you need to go. Your room number they would write it on there. It would tell you about all the things you could do at the resort. I found one from 1995, and it's 8 pages long. 8 pages long.
That's still more than you get at any other resort. That's like, is this the only true like storytelling resort at Disney World?
I think it might be. I don't think anywhere else has
this in depth.
Yeah,
like we did Caribbean Beach, which has a backstory. Mm-hmm. It has a good theme, but nowhere has this immersive of a history.
Right. So like Animal Kingdom Lodge has a story like the one that I told, but the one that Andrew told, I don't think any other place has that.
Yeah.
Like Animal Kingdom Lodge has a lot of those like authentic details in their own show-stopping lobby.
Right.
But I do tend to agree that, like, I don't think any other place has this elaborate, imagineered story. Yeah, I don't think any other place has this.
Yeah. I believe, I don't know if JJ has, I think you're the only one of us that's actually stayed at this resort. Do they stay in character? Like, do they play like you're in that time period there?
No.
Because that would be kind of cool.
It would be. No, it's abandoned. I don't think this is really...
the storytelling is no longer.
Yeah. Like, they don't have this newspaper anymore. And
The newspaper is really cool, though.
yeah, right. And it has like advertisements, but like there's an advertisement for like nightlife. Celebrate New Year's Eve every night of the year at Spectacular Pleasure Island. So like there's an advertisement for Pleasure Island in the newspaper, right? Like that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
But I guess to your point, and it kind of sucks that I guess the almighty dollar rules all, because when you think about the failure of the Star Wars hotel and the immersion, you would think Disney would think of new ways to bring immersion back to their parks and to their hotels. And if they decided to make Wilderness Lodge, the cast members and the people that work there have to act and talk to you like it's the late 1800s. Would the people spending the money to stay there appreciate that?
No.
So
they would not.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a rhetorical question. We know the answer.
The freaks like us would love it,
but like I said,
most of them,
right? The dollar rules all, and the money that people are spending to stay there. I don't even know if it was ever even a consideration to have that be like a cast member acting role, but it would be really cool to like have the person that checks you in be talking like an old time prospector.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I don't even know what you're saying. Just show me to my room. But they're just spouting off these crazy, nonsensical words and phrases.
That would be pretty funny.
Fun if they just had one. You know how they have like the park rangers that show you around the resort?
Yeah.
If one of them was Colonel Moreland or something, and it just told this crazy story. Or it's Jenny.
Or there's like a random guy
maybe
out in the pool trying to find silver in the pool.
Walk around characters for their background story. I kind of like
a couple
that
of
idea.
them. Yeah, just add a few here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Well, maybe Josh tomorrow will bring it back.
If Josh announces this, you know he's listening. No one else is talking about this.
Well, Josh is a park guy. Is there a hotels person?
Josh, we accept the payment in form of 500 points to Copper Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine.
Care of ReedyGeeks LLC.
You see now, that little gang has you now wonderful imagination.
So for the last couple of weeks, you've heard us talk about this tournament going on in March on ReedyGeeks called Mouse Madness. Well, it is officially going to start next week. So make sure to tune in and hear the top 64 sit-down restaurants go up against each other until we have the golden e-ticket of sit-down restaurants at the end of Mouse Madness.
A lot of fun stuff.
We have 4 episodes for the tournament and 3 special guests coming on to help us select the number one sit-down restaurant. So the geeks are not going to be able to put our thumb on the weight to make sure that our sit-down restaurant gets it. Put our thumb on the scale.
Though we will try.
We will try.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. Some very well-regarded experts in the field of Disney food are going to be some of the people helping us make this decision. So it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, food and data.
What are? Is there anything that Andrew loves more than food and data?
Drinks.
Drinks.
I'd say let's play a game, but I mean we've got a whole month of a game coming at us, so I'll take it easy on you. I won't even ask.
All right. Sean, why don't you take us out?
Thanks for listening to another episode of the ReedyGeeks podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Any questions, comments, concerns, future titles, or topic ideas, email us at reedygeeks@gmail.com and check us out on all our socials at ReedyGeeks. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I could have done into the wild.
I think it worked.
We're keeping all of this.
This week's Honest Send-Off comes courtesy of the Geeks.
If you have an honest send-off that you want played at the end of one of our episodes, please submit an audio clip to us via our email address, reedygeeks@gmail.com. ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast, is hosted and executive produced by Andrew Shopey, Sean Murphy, and JJ Hefner. Music and audio engineering by JJ Hefner.
yard.